Welcome to the ListingWidget.com tutorial series. I'm Peter Yolen, President and CEO of the Listing Widget, and today's installment is learning how to create virtual tours. Okay, so let's get started. As you can see, we're in the account area at the ListingWidget.com, and we're in my account, and you'll see Peter's account. And what we're going to do is we're going to move into the Virtual Tour module by clicking Virtual Tours. And Manage Virtual Tours, this is the area where we can add, delete, modify virtual tours. This is where we're really going to do everything we need to do to them. So I'm going to click on this button, and as you can see, I've created some other tours in the past, but any tour that I would like to edit, all I need to do is click on the Manage button, and then I'm presented with an opportunity to go in and edit it. And I can change everything from template, price, images, captions, music, narration, really anything that you do while building the tour can be modified when you're editing through this Manage button. But what we want to do is we want to create a new virtual tour. So I'm going to click on Create New Tour. And the first thing that we're presented with is an opportunity to name our tour. Now this is very important because this is the name that you're going to reference it with throughout its lifetime. So make it something that you can remember and something that will stand out to you when you're looking, and you may have 100 or 200 or 500 tours built. Now also, something to notice is that there are 6 steps to building a virtual tour. That's it. It's very simple. And I will try to run through them fairly quickly for you. Below the name of the virtual tour, this is our option to publish your virtual tour to YouTube. Now we do this automatically for you, and you can see that the radio button is clicked yes by default. However, there may be tours that you would rather not upload. For example, it could be something of a personal nature, it could be memorializing a client's event, or in our case, this is a demonstration tour, and there's really no reason to put it on YouTube. So I'm going to click No. And this tour will be skipped over every night in our nightly update. However, you can always come back, edit the tour, right back to this window, and you can change the no to a yes, and then the tour will start going up that evening. All right? Let's talk about our share link. At the bottom of every virtual tour is a link where you, the seller, or anyone viewing the tour can upload the tour to really literally every social networking site out there. LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, you name it, and it'll go up there. So here by default we're saying share your virtual tour. I think we're going to change this to something a little bit different, and we'll call it the 123 Oak Avenue Virtual Tour, because that is going to be the property address of the property that we're doing today. So I also want to mention to you that I am working on a Macintosh, so some things may look a little bit different to you, but the system works exactly the same as it will on a Windows PC. Everything is identical. It's just some of the screens, as far as the framing around the screen, may look a bit different. So now we're going to choose a template. And as you can see, we've got 4 different classes of templates right now. We're going to focus on the Classic series, however, because here we can do the most modifications since it's really all HTML. And we have several palettes that you can choose from to begin building the tour, and you can, as I say, modify all of the colors. To see the different palettes, you would just click on the particular palette, and you notice that we change the thumbnail each time. So if I wanted to see what fire was, wow, okay, fire is pretty hot. Let's go back up here. Let's use sand, just the first one in the system. And I'm going to show you how you can modify it, save your modifications. So once I've done that and I make sure this radio button is checked, I'm going to click Next. And now what you see is a facsimile of the virtual tour. And don't worry that it's narrow and a little scrunched together. We've done that in the interest of space so that as we go through the process, you can see exactly what the framing of your virtual tour is going to look like, but it also gives us enough room that we can give you the color pickers and the places to edit the text. So the first thing we're going to do is let's put a title in for our property. And as you can see, the title is the line that is going to go just above the address line. And here's you'll always be presented with a dialog box on the right to edit. So we're going to put in Magnificent Home with every amenity. And right now the text is white. However, I could change the text to any color I like, and we're going to do that in a minute. But right now I'm going to leave it white, and I'm going to click Save Changes. And that actually is a very important step, Save Changes. Our system is database driven. So every time you make a change, you really have to click Save Changes or it does not get saved in our database. You'll see it on the page here, but if you just click Cancel, it won't appear. So now I'm just putting in the property address and the state. We know what state you're in, so it'll automatically default to the state that you live in. And there's the zip code, and again I'm going to say Save Changes. Okay, and you can see that my property address is in there. And now for editing the price, this is a great area because here by default we have the words offered at. However, you can put in any language there that you like. It could be that you have a lease, or you could have vacant land, or it's price per acre. So you can change whatever you like here to say whatever you'd like it to say. Because of that, and you can say you don't have to always use a numerical string. When you do put in a number, you have to put in the actual currency symbol. So you've got to put in the $, and you've got to put in the comma to separate them, just as I've done here. So our property is $669,000. And again, I'm going to save my changes. And now the top panel is completed. As you notice, my personal photo and my company logo are here, and they're here by default. We pulled them out of your account. When you set up your account and you did your set up your account defaults, you had an opportunity to put in a personal photo and put in your company logo. If you do that, we're going to present it to you here in everything you do, whether it's a virtual tour, whether it's one of our e-flyers, websites, showing agent feedback, whatever the product is, it'll always appear for you, so it does save some time. So let's talk about our linking. As you can see, we have links for local schools, area tour, weather, maps, and so on. We do all of the linking for you. We're going to take the property address, and we're going to use that information to pull up the local public and private schools in the neighborhood, the area tour of restaurants and theaters and so on, the maps and everything else. Let me just tell you, for starters, that we use third parties to provide that information for us, and they're not always as accurate as they could be. Sometimes Google will look at an address and the map will be completely off, and we know that, so we've given you the ability to correct that. So first of all, we're going to click on Edit Links, and we'll talk about the actual links. As you can see, the box on the left has property website, personal business website, and so on, and 3 custom links. Only the links on the right, in this right box, are the ones that will actually be displayed. And we could take any of these links out or add any other link. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add our property website link for starters. So I just click on it and click on the button with the 2 arrows facing the right. And if we scroll down there, you can see. Now it's going to be displayed in this list. When I mentioned that sometimes the mapping and things are off a bit, you can go in and correct that by just changing the zip code, and we do that right here. So for example, if the local schools aren't actually the local schools, you might want to test it by putting in a couple different zip codes, seeing which one zones into you. Also, the map links sometimes aren't going to be exact for whatever reason, especially in new subdivisions, where maybe Google, because we're using a Google API to pull this information in, it may not be updated, so you may have to cheat a little bit by putting in a property address here that is closer to your property. This property address will not appear anywhere on the website. It's only used for the linking. Now, remember, I moved our property website here, so we actually have one, and it's 123oakavenue.com. So I'm going to type that in, and you know what? You don't have to, but I will put in the www since it's a little more familiar to people. So now when somebody clicks on the link, which will be displayed here on the left, they're going to get to our property website. Okay? And again, I could change all the colors, but we're going to leave that for right now, and I'm going to click Save Changes. So what you see is our property website is now displayed here, and this is going to link out to 123oakavenue.com. We've got our price, and we've got everything just as we like. Now, what if we wanted to change this template a little bit? What if this template was a little bit darker in mood than we wanted? So here we can play around with the colors and really do anything we like. So I'm going to click Edit Background Color, and I'm going to change that brown. This is our current color displayed right here. I'm going to click on our color picker, and I'm going to go for something that's bright red. Wow. And I'm going to Save Changes. and I don't know that the red and brown go together so well, so I'm going to click Edit BG Color, which stands for background color here, and I think a fabulously bright yellow might be nice. Now, what you notice here, and I'm going to save those changes, what you notice here is that we can no longer read the text that's under here. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to click on Edit Links, and I'm now going to change my text color. Whoops, I think I've clicked on the wrong box. No, I'm sorry, here it is. Color picker. I'm going to choose black. I think that'll stand out nicely, and I'm going to click Save Changes. Okay, so we can keep doing this, and we can go through, and just so you know, this top section, the Agent Info section, and the logo section here, those are two different sections, so I can change the color here, and I think I'm going to go for something a little bit less bright. Save that. And I think one more color change might just about do it. And let's go for something here, kind of a blue. Now that's a little too blue. You get the point. I can move around and I can do pretty much whatever I like and save the changes. Now, I know this looks pretty darn bad, but I could actually keep that. If I wanted to use those colors, I could keep that. Not only could I keep it, but I could save this color scheme in my account so that I could always go back to it. However, my seller might think that I've gone a bit over the deep end with these colors, so as much as I hate to do it, I'm going to click on Reset to Default Colors. And boom, there we are. We're right back. So you can't damage the templates. You can always get back to where you started, and you can always go back in and edit these as much as you like. So we've got all our information in here, however. And I'm just going to click on the next button. Okay, this is the most fun part. This is actually uploading and editing our images. So as you can see, I'm presented below with, on the left, the file hierarchy from my computer. And since I'd been in this file earlier today, it's already displaying the images that are here. But all you would really need to do is exactly what I did, which is just navigate. Now I have a lot of stuff in here, but navigate down to the folder that has my images, click on it, and there are all my images. And as you can see, I'm just in my widget demonstration folder where I keep a logo and other photos and different images and things that I might use. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose all of my images. And let me tell you about these images first of all. Actually, let me show you how to check them. So I'm just going to click Check All. And you'll notice that it's put a checkbox in the upper left-hand corner. That means that the images are selected for upload. Without that checkbox, the images would not go, you wouldn't be uploading them. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to upload all of them. I'm going to click on the upload button, and I'm going to talk to you about just a couple things while it's happening. A few things. As you can see in the dialog box here, we're actually showing you the thumbnails of the files as we're uploading them. Now the upload may go very quickly and it may go very slowly depending on how many images and how large they are. Now as you can see, I'm uploading 42.41, almost 42.5 megabytes of data. That's a lot to upload. But we want you to do that, and we want you to do that because if you provide us with the largest images possible, we can give you what we call widget high definition, which on our websites will come down to the full screen button. And I'll show you when the tour is built how dramatic that can be. It's really wonderful to have that button. It's very impactful with your sellers. Now the other thing is, as you can see up here in red type, it says our virtual tours are designed to display landscape, horizontal images only. Portrait or vertical images will appear distorted, and they will. So if you have an image that is vertical, please don't upload it. You'll end up just taking it out because we're going to resize and do some things to the image so that it displays quickly online. And the problem is that because our stage is landscape, the portrait images will actually just look horrible and you won't be happy with them. Now this is our automatic image uploader. We also have down here at the bottom, if you're having trouble with the ActiveX control or the Java uploader, click here to access our traditional uploading method. If for some reason you're having difficulties getting this to work, and on a Mac it's going to be Java, but on a PC it's going to be an ActiveX control, which means right up here along the toolbar, the top of the menu bar, will be a cream colored box, and you'll just have to select to add this ActiveX applet that allows our uploader to work. If for some reason you're having problems with that, our customer service or tech support people who are there 7 days a week can help you with it. Otherwise, if you choose not to use it, you can just click down here at the bottom of the page and we will pull up for you a more traditional uploader. Okay, so this can take a few minutes or very quickly, and you can see the largest files that you can load are what we really hope you do. Okay, now I've cheated a little bit and edited out the time it actually took for the images to go up, and it took about 7 minutes or so for my almost 42.5 megabytes. And as it's finishing right now, you see it saying waiting for response from server. In a second it'll pop up a dialog box, and we'll just have to say okay and we'll move on to the next step. One thing I did want to mention to you is that when you're in this portion, when you're in our image uploader, if you have a picture that the orientation is incorrect, for example, it's portrait and it should be landscape for this, or maybe some things are on the right and you'd rather have them displayed on the left, what you'll have are little circle icons at the lower right and left hand corners of each image, and you can use those to actually rotate the image, and it's all done right here on our image uploader. And however you display that image, whatever orientation you put it in, that's how we present it when it comes up to the site. So I'm going to click on Upload Complete, and now we're moving into the onto the page where we can actually drag and drop our images into the order that we'd like to see them, and we can also put in our captions. So, and depending on the size monitor that you're using or the number of pictures, you can just click on one of the radio buttons and make smaller or larger, small, medium, and large size icons. I'm just going to leave them this size, and I'm going to scroll down because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the Manhattan Beach Pier. There it is. And I'm going to make this our opening frame. To do that, I'm going to hold my mouse over the picture. I'm going to hold down the left mouse button, and I'm just going to drag the image. And notice the red line. Wherever that red line is, when I click and drop it, that's where the image is going to be. So I'm going to move it to the first position. Now, one thing I don't think I mentioned about this virtual tour is that all of the images I'm uploading, these are images that I shot on my iPhone. This is all taken with my iPhone from my car. I did not get out of my car for any of the shots. I merely rolled down the window and held my camera out the window and took the shots. And so what you're seeing is actual iPhone photos, and I'm using these because I really wanted to demonstrate to you, how the quality of the images that you can get without having any kind of special equipment at all. So once I've got the images in the order that I want, and I don't really have much of a preference here right now, but I'll just drag them along. Let's put some captions in. So the first caption I'm going to put in is, this is the Manhattan Beach Pier, so we're going to call it Manhattan Beach Pier. And you'll notice it shows me how many characters I have left. And here I have 46 characters left. And when we get into the actual editing portion of this, I'll show you can have double line captions. So you're really not limited too much. So we click the Update button, and it updates. Let's see, let's go to, this is the Shade Hotel. We'll just call it the Shade Hotel. This is a boutique hotel in my neighborhood. And we'll click that. And this is our 9/11 memorial. And actually, you know what, I could incorrectly spell it. We do have spell checking, which is practically automatic in our system, so you don't have to worry about your spelling, because I am possibly the worst speller in the world. And I will find, let's see, one more photograph. In fact, I'm going to move this picture up. And you notice I can do this I can be editing, I can do whatever I like here and drag and drop images. This is my my daughter's school. My 8.5-year-old goes to school here. So we're just going to name that for her. And there we go. So I could put captions on all of my images if I wanted to. I could choose to delete an image by just clicking on the trash can and the image will disappear. Or I could upload additional images if I wanted to. Or I could delete everything and start over. But I'm pretty happy with my image selection, so I'm going to click I'm done. And now comes the real fun part. Now we get to add our transitions, we get to work on our camera effects, We can change the typeface of our captions. We can really do quite a bit. So first thing we're going to do is it's going to redraw the first image for us. And as you'll notice, there was no camera effect. However, by default, our captions are always positioned on the bottom. They're always positioned, it's Arial Black is the typeface, 30-point type, the font color is white, and the drop shadow is black. And this is by default. However, we can change all of that. If I would rather have my caption on the top, I can click top. If I would like to make it a different type size, a different font, let's go with something very different, copperplate. And I can actually change the size. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And I can change my font color, yet again, by just using the color picker. Once I've done all of that, I can click Preview Changes. And there you go. My caption appears on the top in a totally different font, different color, and I've left the drop shadow as black. However, I'm going to just change this for the purpose of our tour, and I'm going to make it Arial Black again. I'm going to move it down to the bottom, and I'm going to go back to our 30-point type, which is our default. Now, let's talk about let's talk about our camera images, our camera effects, and our transitions. Now, with camera effects, we've got plenty of them, and you can select different effects for every single frame if you'd like to. Or you can let the system randomize them globally, which means it'll choose for each image what it would like the camera effect to be. I'm going to choose that for our virtual tour because it makes building the tour a lot faster. And what it's doing right now is it's rendering it so that we can see what that camera effect actually is, and it's going to be a zoom in from left. But as you notice, I should have saved my caption change, so I'm just going to do that again real quick. I'm going to say Arial Black. We're going to go to 30-point type. We're going to change the typeface back to back to white. There it is, white. And I'm going to say Preview the changes here. Okay, and our caption should be at the bottom. Whoops, I forgot to move it to the bottom. Sorry. I get so excited sometimes. Let's do it now. Alright, so our captions are back at the bottom. Now this is our opening frame. One of the things I like to do on my opening frame is I like to do a little something different with the transition because, as I mentioned, by default, all of our transitions are going to fade in. And we have a lot of transitions to choose from. What I'm going to do is I actually like blocks a lot. So I'm going to select blocks as my first transition to sort of spice up the show a bit. I'm going to click Preview Changes. And there you go. That's what blocks looks like. Now, I'm not going to do anything on any of the other images because you can see that this is pretty simple. However, I will show you that when we click on an image to edit, we put our big ugly red box around it so that you're absolutely clear on what image we're working on. Okay? Because sometimes, especially if you've got landscapes and scenic shots and vistas, it can be a little confusing as to which one you're working on, and especially when you're scrubbing along and you've got tons and tons of images. All right, so we're just going to leave it at this, and you notice if I click on another image, this one is now a pan to bottom, so the camera effects are going to change each time. So once we've got everything the way we like it, we can just hit the next button, or you could hit Save Tour, but all that's necessary is hit the next button. And now we're into the music. Now, we have over 300 music titles that you can choose from, and they're sorted by genre, and you can just scrub right through and pull up all the, any of the music that you would like, and you can actually audition music. Now, I have I thought I had my speakers turned off. I have my speakers turned off. But for example, if I wanted to audition music, I could just click on Luminous Rain and click Play Selection, and it would actually play it for me, so I can hear which selections I'm listening to so I can make my decision. Once you've decided on the music, you can click Add Music to Virtual Tour. Now, I'm going to do something different because I've made other virtual tours. Along with our 300 music titles, you can upload your own music, and that's what I've chosen to do on a few tours. And I've actually saved my music in my favorites, and right here is choose from your favorites. So I click on choose from your favorites. Now I apologize, I have multiple monitors, so I sometimes have to pull things in from another monitor. And the music I'm going to pick is Our House by Crosby, Stills and Nash. So I click on choose, and you can see right here, whoops, just refreshed the screen. You can see right here that my virtual tour is 3 minutes and 4 seconds. My music file is Our House, which is 4 minutes and 41 seconds. If I wanted to change that, I could delete the music and choose something else, or just choose something else. Now, below, I have the opportunity to choose whether my music loops, and we always choose yes, even if your music is longer than your slideshow. Choose loop because get in the habit of it, because there's going to come a time when your music is going to be shorter, especially with our selections. They'll be shorter than the time allotted for all the photos that you have in there. One of the other things that we can do, though, is we can have narration on our virtual tours. So I'm going to add a little piece of narration here that I have done previously, and we're just going to wing our way down to the widget demonstration files. And this is exactly how you would do it on your machine. And I'm getting to narration, and I'm going to pick choose. And once I've done that, you can see my narration file is there. I'm going to select upload. And it just takes a minute or so to upload it. And by the way, it doesn't have to be an MP3. You can upload any music that you have. We will convert it to the format that we need it to be in so that it'll play properly. Okay, our music is uploaded. I'm sorry, our narration is uploaded, and again I'm going to choose to loop our narration as well. Now I can preview my tour by clicking preview. However, there is something I wanted to talk to you about, so I'm just going to jump back, and this is a great example to show you how you can jump back and do things a little differently. If you've forgotten to do something, or want to add a transition, or you've just thought of a great caption. One of the things I didn't mention when we were here editing our images is the fact that you can actually control the duration for the camera effects and the duration for the transitions. So if you have an image that is of particular architectural interest, or something that you would like to have appear on the stage for a longer period of time, you can just up the amount of time. And these are in seconds. And you can do that with how long the transition takes, or how long the camera zoom takes, and you can actually get it to stay online a little bit longer. Conversely, if you have that image of the bathroom that you are compelled to put up there, but maybe it's a pretty small bathroom, it's a bad shot, the lighting's not great, but you really want to be honest and disclose what the property looks like, you can just go in here and say, all right, it's not a great shot, I'm going to make it stay on screen for less time, and you can shorten it up. So you have total control, and these changes here only affect the actual frame that you're working on. Okay? So we're good to go with all that. So let's go back to, we'll just scroll up here, and you notice I don't have to save anything. I can just click on Preview Our Tour, and what's happening now is it's going to play our tour for us, and it's going to, so we can take a look, and we could actually sit here and audition the entire tour, watch it all play the first time. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the I'm finished button, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be happy with it. And this takes a moment to do, because what it's doing now is it's generating all of your and now I've actually discovered a problem with the tour. Notice how I don't have music. Now if I click on this is actually going to pull up the actual tour. Okay, and this would be the live version of the tour. But what I noticed was, as I went to as it built the tour and was starting to play, I only have the narration volume bar. When you have music and narration, you'll have both bars. So something didn't work right when I went to upload my music, and maybe I actually, there it is. Okay, it just didn't display it. So what I was going to say is, though, I could have gone right back into the editor very quickly and begun to edit the tour. But here you'll see I have my music volume for my narration, and my music volume for my music, or my volume for my music. Also, I have my full screen, and when I click on full screen, we go to the full screen images. And again, please remember, these images were shot with my iPhone. And really the rule of thumb is that any camera that you have purchased within the past 5 years, 3 megapixels or more, that's all it really needs to be, and you can get pretty great shots. I mean, if I didn't tell you that this was shot with an iPhone, you might not know. So full screen is available even from an iPhone. We also have quick picks, and came up on another monitor again, sorry, I'll pull it in here. And what quick picks does is it pulls up a fresh browser screen, and we actually pull all the images out, and we put them in a version where you can click on the thumbnails on the left, and again we use the ugly red box so that you can see where you are, and somebody can look at the individual images in the order that they would like to, because you can have an unlimited number of images, which means you could have a 2.5-hour virtual tour, and no matter how dedicated your clients are to you, they're probably not going to stay for the whole thing. Anyway, when you're done, close the window. There's your tour. And that's just how simple it is to build a virtual tour. And please keep in mind, it took me extra minutes because I was talking about it as I was doing it. But it's very simple. I want to give you one tip before I go, and that is that since you can have unlimited virtual tours, please go back to your office, build a virtual tour for every property you have ever listed or sold. Make sure the first caption just says sold, because we give you a free website with all of your virtual tours displayed as thumbnails that link to the virtual tours. And don't be afraid, all you need are 1 or 2 photos of each property to build a tour, and it'll appear on that page. It is very impressive to your sellers and buyers when you send them to that page. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope gave you a little bit of insight into how to build the virtual tours. Remember, our customer service and tech support is there 7 days a week for you. They will help you in any way they can, and if you can't remember what we've done here and need some one-on-one help, please call. Ask them for a walkthrough. They'll be happy to do it for you. Thanks so much for spending some time with me, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.